Well, welcome back to another live stream from around Mijas. As always, we've had half an hour of playing around with some of the technical things, but I think we've got there. And I am going to bring on right away Mr. Alan Boardman. You have been a busy boy, Alan, haven't you?
It's a busy time, Bill, but it's all good stuff. Yeah, good evening. How are you?
I'm fine. I tell you what, mate, I don't have your level of energy. I can't keep up with all these events that you're always at.
Well, what it is, you know, that my partner in crime, Val Williams, I mean, she's 82. So,
I
you
know.
know, I'm on her bound to match her energy levels. That's what keeps me going.
I mean, it's absolutely disgusting how much energy this woman has, isn't it?
Yeah, and there's no let up. You know what I mean? It's not like
I
she
know.
has sort of peaks and troughs. It's just continually
It just
intense.
goes on and on and on. So,
Yeah.
Alan, I'm going to bring in your guest for this evening, and I'm going to let you introduce your guest, and we go from there.
Okay, cheers, Bill. Thank you very much. Talk to you later. Well, good evening, everybody, to another Around Mijas live stream. My name's Alan Boardman, and tonight we are talking to a representative from Age Concern, Fuengirola, Mijas, and Benalmádena. His name is Steve Marshall. Good evening, Steve.
Good evening, Alan. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you, yes. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Good, good. Before we start, I must tell people a very strange thing happened only yesterday morning, because we've never met, you and I. We didn't even know each other, or really, until a few days ago. But my wife Jenny and I were having breakfast down in the port in the Caribbean Mermaid cafe there, and you came in with your Age Concern by John, and I said to Jenny, hold on, that must be Steve Marshall.
I know, that was really spooky.
It was spooky, yeah. Meant to be, I think.
I think so too, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, just to start, I mean, could you just tell us what your title is within Age Concern? What do you actually do?
My official title is that of secretary. And secretary involves a load of things, including press, publicity, fundraising. I have a lot of fingers in a lot of pies.
Well, it sounds like that lot is going to keep you very busy. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so just a little bit about you personally, because as I've just said, I don't know anything about you at all. How long have you been here on the coast, and you know what brought you here? And don't say a Boeing 737.
I've been on the coast, must be about 24 years now. And when I was in England, I was working in training and personal development. Mm-hmm. I worked for a large PLC, traveled all around the country, but unfortunately I was made redundant. And it was probably the crossroads in my life, and I decided, well, there weren't any opportunities at that time in the UK, so why not? I sold the house and I moved to Spain.
Yeah, it's funny. I don't know if people say the same kind of thing to you. But if I had 10 euros for everyone that said, "Oh, you were so brave," you know, I'd be pretty wealthy.
Everybody said that. Yeah. Not just so brave, you're an idiot. which I've been called more than once, I decided that it was right for me. My son was 5 years old at the time, and it seemed a great opportunity. He's now 29. Yeah, 29. So it was the best move that I made, without a doubt.
That's exactly how we feel as well. So what actually drew you to Wage Concern, and when did you first get involved with what is a fairly major charity, isn't it?
Yes, it is. We started out very, very small. It was just a group of people. We didn't even have a name. And we were based in the Manila Bar in Fuengirola, Los Felices.
Yeah, very well-known bar.
Yeah. It wasn't long before a group of us decided if we were going to do this properly, then we needed to align ourselves with an organization that had a good reputation and was known for looking after the interests of the over 50s. Age UK were the ones that we spoke to, and it really stemmed from there. We were put on a year's probation, which meant that we had to go through a lot of hoops to be able to carry the name.
Yeah, does that mean that you are essentially an integral part of Age UK, or are you still seen as a separate entity because you're in Spain?
We are a totally separate entity. We are a totally separate entity. I have conversations with a very nice lady over there, just occasionally, but apart from that, we make our own decisions, we raise our own finances, and we look after our own people.
Right. Well, that has to be good, doesn't it, to have that level of autonomy and, dare I say, control?
Yes, it's very important because all the money we raise stays here in Spain. It doesn't go anywhere. And that means that because nobody in this charity gets paid, everything is ploughed back for the clients.
Yeah, I think that's a really important point that we've just brought up there, because maybe consciously or maybe subliminally, there are people that look at the logo and recognise at least, you know, a relationship with Age UK and wonder maybe whether all the money does stay here. So it's important that that you confirm that.
I think it's important that people understand that we've been checked out as much as any organisation can be checked out, and we've met very high standards that Age UK set, which allows us to use the name Age Concern.
Yeah. Okay, so that means then, if I've got this right, that you were involved personally either at the very start of Age Concern here or very shortly afterwards.
Yeah, I was involved. I wasn't one of the originals, of which there are still 2 or 3 on the executive committee. Linda Ewan, David Long, Carol Frost were all the original team. I joined soon afterwards, and when a committee was formed, I was on board. Originally, I looked after volunteers, and I did that for about a year, after which time everybody had settled into their roles, and it was decided that I would then move on and take over the role of secretary.
Right. Okay. So what was it about Age Concern, you know, in its very early days of conception, that made you think, I really want to be a part of this?
I didn't really know that much about it, quite honestly. I knew that I'd retired. I came out here and bought a bar, and ran that for several years. But I was getting unwell, and I had to sell the bar, and that meant that I had a lot of time on my hands. And people would ask me, what do I do? I said, well, really, I can do anything that I choose. But the reality was I was getting very bored, and I needed to do something, and I needed to be proactive. I'd heard about this group that was in Los Beliches, went down there, had a chat, and originally got taken on as a driver. And then it all stemmed from that.
Yeah, and this is how long ago?
Wow, that would have been 2013. Because
right, so 8 years. So you've served your dues, that's for sure. Just a little bit about the branch itself. You, as the name suggests, you must cover Fuengirola, Mijas, and Benalmádena. Is that right?
Yes.
And what are the aims of your branch? I don't know if you have such a thing as a mission statement or objectives or strategy or whatever, but you know, what do you set out to do?
Well, we do have it's really quite a long mission statement, but in essence, we provide welfare advice, help, support, and friendship to the over 50s English-speaking communities in those areas. In essence,
what kind of things do you actually get involved with? Like, could you give us some examples?
For example, we provide one-to-one help through our welfare department. We provide group help and support through our 4 drop-in centres. We have a shop that's open 6 days a week where people can drop in and just say, I'd like to speak to somebody about whatever. I'd like to hire a wheelchair for my mother. She's coming out of hospital. Something like that.
Right.
The important thing is that we have a presence that people can reach us. And of course, we have a helpline that is manned throughout the day and on an answer phone service 24/7.
Okay, well, at this point, I'll remind viewers, just if they haven't got a pen and paper to hand now, or a phone with notes or whatever, to get that by the end of the program, and we'll come back and take that number off you, Steve. Okay.
That's fine.
But just to remind viewers as well, you can watch this program back at any time after the show is actually finished on YouTube. Now, Steve, you mentioned, you know, you offer help in certain circumstances. Can you give us an idea of what kind of circumstances people need to find themselves in so that they can be confident when they ring Age Concerned that there's some help at the end of that helpline telephone?
I think the first thing to stress would be that any phone call that is made to the helpline is absolutely confidential. I don't have the helpline, and I don't know what people say on the helpline. Right? They talk to one of our volunteers. At the moment, they would talk to Linda, and she will take down some basic details, and then we'll arrange to go and see them and talk to them in the privacy of their home. And from that, various things will unfold. It could be that they don't know where to get any particular help. That might be a recommendation for a nursing home or long-term care, or gosh, there are so many things that people actually talk about, which I'm not privy to. But whatever it is, they will tell the representatives from the welfare department, and they will take action. It might be that they are short of funds and might be eligible for some funds from the UK. And our people would take care of that if they're eligible.
Right. So you, in A's concern, the welfare department, you don't actually offer the service yourself, you know, funding or actual care, but what you are is a conduit. You can point people precisely in the right direction and offer advice as to what they might be eligible to and for.
Absolutely. We are facilitators. Our job is to make sure that the client is looked after as best as possible. And that's what we set out to do.
Yeah. Okay. Now it's interesting. I see the name Age Concern, and rightly or wrongly, I kind of think of, I don't know, maybe age 75 and over. But like you said earlier, your reach is to people of 50 and over. So we're not talking about necessarily elderly people, just older people.
Absolutely. We see a lot of people in their 70s and 80s, God bless them, right? And we would like to see more of the younger people who have retired early, you know, people who can bring a different dynamic to the groups. So yeah, everybody's welcome. If you're 50 and over and you can speak English, come on down. We're here for you.
Right. Excellent. Now, I just want to ask you about the effect of the two disasters, the two catastrophes which have hit us at the same time, really, and I'm guessing will have impacted on your level of activity. And of course, I'm talking about the Brexit situation and the COVID situation. So am I right in assuming that, you know, the need for your services has gone up because of one or both of those?
In a word, yes.
Hmm.
And it's yes to both. People are concerned, they're worried, they just want someone to talk to, someone who's not going to give them a load of faff, someone who's going to be there to help them. And that's really what they want, help, reassurance. A lot of our clients are lonely, isolated. The pandemic didn't help that. In fact, it just made it worse. Brexit was an unknown. A lot of people have felt ignored. But nonetheless, there are agencies they can talk to, and they can talk to us. And if we don't know the answer, we know somebody who does.
Yeah, you know the man who can. Yeah.
Absolutely, just like the advert.
Yeah. Okay. Just is there one particular memory that stands out for you? You know, someone that was in a particularly dark place or a very difficult place, and you managed to help out and get them moving, get their life going again.
Yeah, come to think of it, this was a little while ago. There was a guy, he'd fallen on hard times and he was sick and he'd been taken to the hospital and then he'd been put into a Spanish care home and he couldn't speak Spanish.
Oh dear.
And the only income that he had was his pension, and most of that went towards his care.
Yeah.
So he was in a room, I think, with about 4 or 5 other people. It wasn't ideal, and we heard about him, and we were able to go and see him, make arrangements to get him out, put him in his own apartment, made sure he got the funding that he was entitled to, and he lives happily ever after.
Oh, that's absolutely brilliant, isn't it? I mean, that must give you and the people involved in your organisation such a thrill and such an inspiration to carry on doing what you're doing.
It was a great instance because it showed that a few people working together can make a real difference.
Yeah.
And that's what the charity does.
Sure. Okay. So we'll come back to the helpline in a moment, but every charity I know really is totally dependent on their volunteers, and as you've already said, you know, your levels of activity have definitely increased because of Brexit and COVID. So presumably you're open to volunteers, and if you are, how do they actually get in touch? How can they make inquiries as to how they can help?
Well, yes, you're absolutely right. We're always in need of volunteers because the charity is growing. And our volunteers, a lot of them have been with us since the beginning, which is great. We are looking for people to work in our shop because we do shift work in the shop. That is to say that if you work in the shop, you don't work 6 days a week. You will do one morning shift or 2 morning shifts.
Yeah.
That's like 3.5 hours. So if you can spare 3.5 hours in a week, we'd love to talk to you.
And this is the shop in Los Felices, Fuengirola, yes?
Yes, it is. If you would like to help us fundraise, because every charity needs money and we're no different. That's fine. Pop into the shop, tell them that's what you want to do, get an application form, and we'll sit down and have a coffee. And we will find an opportunity for you. If you want to work with us, we will find an opportunity. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, that sounds great. And as far as fundraising activities are concerned, I mean, I know a little bit about this, but do you have an established program of fundraising activities, or do you sort of do different things as time goes on?
Well, our fundraising activities took a back seat for the last 18 months because of the pandemic. And so with restrictions now lifted, we are doing as much as we can between now and the end of the year. Probably the biggest fundraiser that seems to have attracted attention is that of the zip line. And I know that you're involved in that.
Yeah, for my sins, yeah. Yeah, well, people will know through this program and other things that I'm heavily involved in a charitable platform called the Simply Surviving Group, and 5 of our members are supporting your amazing challenge next Friday, the 24th, on the zip line in Alarin de la Torre.
Yes, for those people who don't know what this is about, certain brave and most certainly crazy individuals are going to hurl themselves off a mountain and travel down a wire that's 1,350 meters long at speeds in excess of 100 kilometers an hour. And it takes a certain sort of person to even contemplate doing that. And you're one of them.
Yeah, and the great thing is, I know that the AIDS Concerned annual challenge, I use the word again, challenges this idea that old people or older people can't do certain things. So you always choose something way off the scale, don't you, just to prove that that is not the case.
That's certainly right. Just because you are over 50 doesn't mean that you have a date stamp on your forehead that says that you cannot do things. We've done skydiving. We've done a zip wire from Spain to Portugal. We abseiled down the Sunset Beach Hotel in Belmadonna. Most of our people are pensioners.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it?
We've got one guy, I think he's in his mid-80s, and he'll be doing the zip line.
Yeah, I think it's amazing. I mean, I know that your president David Long is in his 80s and he's going to be doing it. And the gentleman that you referred to, actually, by coincidence, is a neighbour of mine, Ron Goodwin, and he's 85. So I just think it's fantastic, and obviously we wish you well in raising as much money as at all possible. I probably should have said at the top of the show that at Simply Surviving Group, we are not a registered charity, but each month through a number of social events and different things like that, we support a nominated charity. And for this period of time until mid-October, that charity is Age Concern, which is why we're taking part in the zip line. And you probably heard tonight, about last night, Steve, that in just one night with a fantastic dinner and entertainment night, we raised over €2,000 for Age Concern. So hopefully that level of contribution will put you in good stead.
Well, we are certainly looking forward to it, and we're immensely grateful for all the work that you do. We've got to say something like 24 people who are going to jump off a mountain Friday week. And we hope to raise a few bob doing that as well.
Yeah, well, I really do hope that you do. Now, do you have to hand that helpline number for people to call?
Of course. Right, 652 537 615. Okay,
let me read that back. 652 537 615. And what hours is that open without the help, the answer line?
10 till 4, and somebody will answer it. After that, you'll go to message service, and we will strive to call you back the next working day.
Right, that's great.
If you call Wednesday evening, then we'll call you back Thursday morning.
Right, that's terrific. And that's for anyone living in the Mijas, Fuengirola or Benalmádena areas?
Yes.
Oh, that's great. Steve, I really, time is almost up. We've only got a few minutes. Stay on the line if you will. But in the meantime, I want to thank you very much indeed for coming on the show today. And we all wish you well, and the rest of the team at Age Concern, for the future going forward. Thank you very much indeed.
And we've just a question, guys, from Daniela, who's going to be on next week. Can more people sign up still for the zip line? And she says, not me.
The answer to that is, as far as doing the actual zip line, we're now complete.
You're full, right? Okay.
Because we have to manage the numbers. However, you can certainly sponsor the team, for the coming weeks. And if you want details of that, pop into the shop, drop into one of our clubs, or look us up on the web, Age Concern, Fuengirola, Mijas, and Benalmádena, right? And you can donate on our website.
Right. And I know, I mean, a lot of people around this area know Alan and Val, so they can also sponsor them. And, you get a local contact here for it. I'm seriously glad that Daniela isn't considering doing it, though, Alan.
No, you wouldn't want to lose two presenters in one afternoon, would you?
No, and well, you know that Daniela also has some good news coming along the line, that she is expecting a baby, so that would be a
Indeed.
bit. What do we got? Yeah, Mario says, if Daniela goes, so will I. Yeah, well, come on, Mario. That's. I don't think there was much chance yeah, of Daniela going on this one. And one of our other presenters is saying, good luck on the zip line to all those I know who are doing it. And then Mario has just added, yeah, but it's still better if we just make a donation.
Alan reminded everybody that this is an annual challenge. So watch out for what we do next year.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
There's
Steve,
still
once again, thank you very much indeed. Bill, just before we close the program, I've just got one or two events to announce, if that's okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. So these first few are Simply Surviving Group events. If you want to get involved with Simply Surviving Group, just go to their Facebook page of that name. Or if you are not a Facebook user, you can send an email to valwilliams39@yahoo.co.uk. Now, on Monday coming, there is a walking tour of Mijas. These are the walking tours that I do myself. It's about 2 hours explaining the cultural and historical development of beautiful Mijas Pueblo. And all we ask is suggested minimum is €5. It's about 2.5 hours around the Mijas. And we meet outside the town hall at 11 o'clock on Monday. So if you want to be involved in that, then please get in touch with me either via the Simply Surviving Group Facebook page or contact me on this telephone number, which is 6105 22605. On Wednesday, the 22nd, next week at 2 o'clock, we have our monthly fun quiz, this time at Restaurante Verona, which is in El Coto, Mijas. It's just €2 to play, and there are prizes for the winners, and the lovely Nicola Marwood is singing the 2 music rounds. It's a lot of fun, nothing heavy, and again, all of this is in support of age concern. So please do just pop along to that. On the 23rd, a social occasion is our breakfast club, which meets once every 10 days or so, from 10 o'clock till 12, next Thursday, the 23rd. And that is at Desperate Dan's Cafe, down there in the port in Fuengirola. And we always try to choose cafes and bars that are a bit smaller than the norm and have been particularly badly hit. So it's an attempt to get their business moving. And these breakfast clubs have actually generated just short of 150 breakfasts in various bars and cafes in the Mijas and Fuengirola areas. And then, of course, as aforementioned, the zipline challenge on the 24th at 11 o'clock. One last thing is that I have to thank Michelle and Stephen Eusden at the Euro Weekly newspaper. The Facebook membership of Simply Surviving Group at the moment, the last time I looked, is around about 855. Only 5 days ago, it was 791. So we've added 65 people in only 5 days. And the reason for that is that Michelle and Stephen have very kindly offered to make an additional donation of €200 if we get to 1,000 members by the end of September. So we've made a cracking start on that, and obviously we're hoping that that pace can be maintained so we can take up Euro Weekly News with very kind. That's all. I just say goodbye to all of our viewers. Thank you very much indeed for watching, and enjoy the next few weeks. I should be back on in the middle of October with at least one more guest from the world of charity.
Alan, thank you so much. Steve, it's lovely to meet you, if only by...
Bill, can you hear me?
I can hear you fine. Thank you so much, Steve.
At that point, Bill seems to have frozen. So I will say a final good night, and thank you very much indeed. Good night.
Thank you. Good night.